I'm not hearing myself. There we are. Good morning again. Let's try this and get it right. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Stony Brook. We are located on the ancestral lands of the Settlecot Nation. My name is Mike Hoffman, and I am so happy to be serving as your worship associate. I am thrilled to say that our minister is Reverend James Komodo, who is here with us this morning. And Reverend James will be available during coffee hour after the service. Our co-directors of religious education are Michelle Maggio and Susan Buckley. And Wendy Engelhardt will be reading the Tale for All Ages this morning. Our musicians are Dan Weymouth and Coleman Blackner, and our hymnist is John Sepala. And of course, our tech team this morning is Linda and Rich. Okay. At any time during the service, please feel free to come forward and place a pebble in the water set there on the table to the right of the entrance. Should you wish to make a promise or let go of one, remember someone, release a bit of pain, or otherwise mark some important event or occasion, please step to the table and quietly send your thoughts outward as you drop a pebble into the water. This will mingle the ripples of your intention with the ripples of those of other people in our community. We welcome you all, those here in our sanctuary and those attending online. We're one congregation worshiping together, so let's all say hi and wave to each other through the camera on your left. A very special welcome to any of you who are visiting us or are here with us for the first time today, or if you still feel like a newcomer. We're delighted that you're here and look forward to getting to know you. Please plan to stay following the service and join us for coffee hour. Feel free to speak with any of our friendly folks who'll be happy to at least try to answer any of your questions you may have. Also, our services vary in content and style from week to week, so please plan to visit several times to get a better understanding of who we are as a community of faith. If you're viewing the service online, please, at the end of the service, sign out and go to our website for a link to small group chat to meet others in an online setting where you can get to know us a little bit better. I'd like to ask Charlie Posey, our board president, to come up today and say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me very well, and I don't know who that could be, at this point, my name is Charlie Posey, and I am honored to serve as the new president of the fellowship. And I wrote this took me a long time to write this just right, and I put down many years ago when I came to this fellowship, my wife said, "You can't say that. It's only been 5 years." It just seems like longer because I got involved right away. So I found my way to this congregation, and over that time I have grown alongside it. This fellowship has become an important part of my life, and I am grateful for the friendships, support, and sense of community I have found here. Serving on the board for the past several years, 5, has given me a deeper understanding of who we are as a congregation, our strengths, our challenges, and most importantly, our incredible potential. I have learned that when we work together with kindness, respect, and a shared vision, there is very little we cannot accomplish. I truly believe we are entering an exciting new chapter. We are fortunate to have Reverend James joining us as our new minister. His commitment to building relationships and helping our fellowship grow is inspiring, and I look forward to working alongside him as we continue to strengthen our community. As president, I don't see my role as leading alone. I see it as listening, encouraging, and helping all of us work together to create a welcoming, vibrant fellowship where every person feels valued and every voice matters. Thank you for your trust and support. I am excited about what we can accomplish together, and I look forward to the journey ahead. That being said, I would like to take this opportunity to present a gift basket to Reverend James. I didn't do it. This basket is the work of Denise Stevenson, who consistently goes above and beyond, often quietly taking the initiative to make others feel welcomed and cared for. So thank you, Denise, for your hard work, your caring heart, and your unwavering commitment to our fellowship. Your generosity has helped to give Reverend James a warm and memorable welcome. And if Reverend James, you'll come up and get this wonderful basket. Oh, you have one for me?
Wrong bag. So thank you to Denise, and thank you to all of you. This is very, very kind. But let me say this, the biggest gift that all of you can give to me today and during the next coming weeks is wearing your name tags. So I would really appreciate that. Thank you for this, and I look forward to getting to know all of you very well. Thank you.
Now, please silence your devices, take a deep breath, and center yourselves as we enter into the sacred space of worship with the sounding of the bell. And please remain silent until the vibrations can no longer be heard or felt.
The sun once went around the earth, according to the Holy Church, which helped to reassure people that they were the center of the universe. One day His Holiness the Pope met a man with a telescope, said, "Mr. Galilei, what does your spyglass say?" And the scientist spoke, he said, "It's really quite amazing, entirely life-changing. So let me ask before I show you, do you really want to know? Oh, do you really want to know?" Emma read the Bible for direction. She said she was a child of heaven, and that the human race came from a higher place, from the angels descended. She wound up marrying her cousin. He was a thinker of a husband, lost in thought she'd find him. Say, "Charlie, what you writing?" Darwin looked up and said, "It's really quite amazing, entirely life-changing. So let me ask before I show you, do you really want to know? Oh, do you really want to know? Oh, do you really want to? Let knowledge like a breeze into the door of your belief. Blow through the rooms and the corridors, knocked cherished heirlooms to the floor. Their wind can raise the roof sometime, and if you're blinking at the sky, so if you stare into this glass, beware that there's no going back. You'll say sunrise, it will refuse. Instead, the earth itself will move and spin you around from dawn to dawn into the wonder of it all. Do you really want to know? Oh, 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 do you really want to know?
Thank you, Dan. I've asked Rob Garisto to come up and light our chalice this morning while I say these words by Julianne Lepp, titled, Open to Unexpected Answers. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. Thank you. For our opening words, we have a responsive reading by Faithina Leonard titled, Love Still. The words are in, I believe, an insert in your order of service. I will say the words in regular type, and you may read the words in italics. Everyone have that? Okay. At the center, not as softness, not as surrender, but as gravity, love. Love that bends the arc of anger so it does not break us. Love that holds grief without asking it to hurry. Love that looks despair in the face and says, you may with me, but you will not decide who I become. We name the fire in our chests, the rage that comes when shots ring out, when uniforms sworn to protect become symbols of fear, when a nation turns its teeth on people for simply existing. Anger is not the enemy. Anger is love's alarm bell. We attune, then we choose what we build with it. We grieve, not quietly, not neatly. We grieve the stolen futures, the bodies turned into headlines, the trust cracked open again and again. Grief is love with nowhere to go, so we give it somewhere. Candles, names, tears, marches, the refusal to forget. And when despair whispers that nothing will change, that cruelty is winning, that the universe is cold, we answer with interdependence. Your life is bound to mine. No one is disposable. No one suffers alone unless we abandon them. We answer with equity. Justice is not abstract. It is breath protected, bodies safe, dignity made real. We answer with transformation. What is broken can become different, not by denial, but by courage and repair. We answer with pluralism. There is more than one way to be human, and every way deserves space to live. We answer with generosity. We will keep giving ourselves to hope, even when it costs. We answer with justice. Love is not neutral. Love takes sides for the harmed, the hunted, the unheard. And always at the center, not naive, not passive, love that stays, love that resists, love that refuses to become what it is fighting. In a time when the country feels like it is attacking its own body, we choose to be the immune response, not destroying, but healing. This is how we carry anger without becoming it. This is how we honor grief without drowning. This is how we journey through despair and still extend our hands. Love, not as a feeling, but as a practice. Love. Good job. Please rise in body or spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Today's Time for All Ages is entitled The Heart and the Bottle by Oliver Jeffers. Once there was a girl, much like any other, whose head was filled with all the curiosities of the world, with thoughts of the stars, with wonder at the sea. She took delight in finding new things and drawing them, until the day she found an empty chair. Feeling unsure, the girl thought the best thing was to put her heart in a safe place, just for the time being. So she put it in a bottle and hung it around her neck. And that seemed to fix things at first. Although in truth, nothing was the same. So she forgot about the stars and stopped taking notice of the sea. She was no longer filled with all the curiosities of the world and didn't take much notice of anything. other than how heavy and awkward the bottle had become. But at least her heart was safe. It might never have occurred to the girl what to do had she not met someone smaller and still more curious about the world. There was a time when the girl would have known how to answer her questions, but not now, not without her heart. And it was right at that moment she decided to get it back out of the bottle, but she didn't know how. She couldn't remember. Nothing seemed to work. The bottle couldn't be broken. It just bounced and rolled right down to the sea. But there it occurred to someone smaller and still curious about the world that she might know a way. And it just so happened she did. The heart was put back where it came from. And the chair wasn't so empty anymore, but the bottle was.
It is our spiritual practice to have a meditation in three forms: spoken, in silence, and in song. We will begin with a poem titled Variation on a Theme by Rilke. And this poem is by Denise Levertov. A little confusing. Before I read the poem, after I read the poem, we'll have a minute of silence, and then John will bring you out of the silence with hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. So if you're not familiar with it, you may want to open your book to that now. Variation on a Theme by Rilke. A certain day became a presence to me. There it was, confronting me. A sky, air, light, a being. And before it started to descend from the height of noon, it leaned over and struck my shoulder as if with the flat of a sword, granting me honor and a task. The day's blow rang out, metallic, or it was I, a bell awakened. And what I heard was my whole self saying and singing what it knew. I can. Thank you, John. Each week, we share the offering with an organization doing the work of justice in the world. During the summers, we traditionally focus on local food insecurity, so our shared plate recipient for this month is Community Solidarity. This is a grassroots organization that collects and shares produce and vegetarian groceries with thousands of people across Long Island at their food share sites. They have no warehouses, no tractor-trailers, and no paid employees, but they do have operational expenses and depend entirely on donations to function. Their volunteers collect and distribute millions of pounds of fresh produce each year, which would otherwise end up in a landfill, but instead provides for the nutritional needs of over 6,500 people each week, year-round, regardless of weather. Community Solidarity believes that food is a human right and that they live into that vision at their food shares. In addition, they give out children's books and fresh flowers and plants when they can get them. We have partnered with them for several years, and some of their volunteers are friends, members, and youth of this congregation. If you're interested in learning more, Laura Lesh, raising her hand now, would be glad to tell you all about volunteering at their food shares, or you can check their website. Please give generously. For those online, the link to donate is in the chat or on our website at uufsb.org. Will members of the board please come forward to receive this offering?
You've got to be taught to hate and fear. You've got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught to be afraid of people whose eyes are oddly made, and people whose skin is a different shade. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be taught before it's too late, before you are 6 or 7 or 8, to hate all the people your relatives hate. You've got to be carefully taught. You've got to be carefully taught.
Wow. Thank you. This morning, our own Deb Little is reflecting on despair and a path to joy in her reflections. Deb has been a UU for longer than she knew. In 1991, she and Dan Weymouth were searching for a minister to marry them in Ann Arbor, Michigan. They happened to find the Reverend Kenneth Pfeiffer, am I saying that right? A minister at First UU in Ann Arbor and a leader in struggles for immigrant and LGBT rights for decades. When they met with him, he said that there were only two things he wouldn't do in the ceremony: talk about God and jump from an airplane. And that worked for them. Deb found us in 1996. She and Dan became members 2 years later. Deb has served on many committees here and also served as our Director of Religious Education for 6 years, from 2019 until last year, 2025. While in this congregation, Deb mothered 2 children into adulthood and taught as an assistant and then associate professor in sociology and criminal justice programs at Delphi University. She continues to teach there as an adjunct, where she offers a course on disability studies with a colleague in theater. In 2020 and 21, she helped to write the People's Plan for Police Reform on Long Island as part of a coalition of 3 groups that studied and analyzed policing on the island following the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis and Governor Cuomo's executive order for all police departments to study their own practices and procedures. In 2021, she created the Kids Hangout, a plus tweens, with 2 friends who are also parents of gay and trans children. And she continues to be a groupie of Dan Weymouth and the Claudia Jacobs Band. Deb?
Wow. I'm so happy to be here. I want to begin with another expression of gratitude for the wonderful musicians blessing us this morning with their gifts. And I want to say that we have a new bass, which is so thrilling. Thank you, Coleman. And I think that the Reverend James might be a bass too. I thought that's what I heard. Baritone. Well, join the choir. All right. So I was born on a Wednesday. Some of you may remember the old nursery rhyme, which says, Monday's child is fair of face, Tuesday's child is full of grace, Wednesday's child is full of woe. For much of my life, I have referred to this nursery rhyme to explain my intense and serious nature, my preference for tragedies over comedies, my too easy fall into despair. Sometimes I enclose my heart in the pit of my stomach so as not to feel the pain of our world. It feels hardwired in me. I've been involved in work for justice, for equity, for compassion for decades. When asked what superpower I would like to have, I say, the ability to make everyone feel empathy. These are easy times in which to fall into despair. We all know that. We all feel this. And yet, activists all around me and in the world are pushing everyone to find some joy. If we don't feel joy, they say, we will not be able to create the world we want. I find it hard to be joyful. I can be centered or content, but joy is a hard reach. I attended a lovely birthday party recently at which the birthday guest gave everyone randomly an affirmation card. Mine said, a positive mindset is indispensable because negative thinking cannot be transformed into love. Damn. Our faith tells us that love is at the center of our lives and our work for another world Cornell West reminds us that justice is what love looks like in public. And this all brings me to my reflections today. I'm going to share 3 memories linked to the 3 songs I chose for our service. I love hearing a baby in here. The last song is our postlude, so of course you've not yet heard it. The first song, Do You Really Want to Know? In college, I lived for 1 academic year in Aix-en-Provence in the south of France. I was lucky enough to have a French roommate, and her boyfriend was a member of the French Communist Party, and I often tagged along to meetings. An aside, my parents were good, white, suburban, educated liberals. They despaired when Bobby Kennedy was shot. They invited lots of foreign students to our house. They voted for Democrats. When I went to France, I had only met 1 communist, so far as I know, and that was Patricia Weymouth, Dan's mother. That's a different story. For today's story, I just want you to know that I was raised as a good liberal white suburban kid. So one night in France, I went with my roommate and her boyfriend to see the documentary Hearts and Minds about U.S. involvement in Vietnam. It has the horrific scene of the child running down the road with her back on fire from napalm. Those of us of a certain age have probably seen this image. All around me, French folks were hissing and booing the U.S. Did I really want to know this? I was so sheltered that I had no idea about any of this. The idea that the U.S. was not universally loved, not always the good guy, a country that committed these kinds of acts. But I chose to let knowledge like a breeze knock cherished heirlooms to the floor. Peter Mayer speaks of the wonder of knowledge like this, and of course, it can be a source of wonder, but it can also knock you down. I spent the year after this experience in a kind of post-traumatic state. Everything I had believed about my country seemed to be false, or at least a very one-sided story. As I recovered, however, I began to learn more. I was young, so I had a very black and white view of things. I rarely applied a nuanced perspective to understand the behavior of those who used power for harm. At that age, I condemned. Now I still condemn, but I try to understand how a person can be so damaged as to commit such evil. So my first lesson is to be open to insights, facts, histories, and theories that absolutely shake your world. Let knowledge, like a breeze, in through the door of your beliefs, blow through the rooms and the corridors and knock cherished heirlooms to the floor. Do you really want to know? I have decided, yes, I do. Our second song, You Have to Be Carefully Taught, takes us to my work as a lawyer. I studied law in D.C. and then moved to California. I was practicing poverty law, landlord-tenant cases, public benefits, and domestic violence in Southern California. Every other week, I would meet battered women at a local shelter. My first task after meeting the woman was to assess how lethal her partner was. One day I met with a 30-something Spanish-speaking Latina mom. No interpreter was available that day, so I tried to gently ask her child about the kinds of things that had happened. The 10-year-old daughter put her hands around her neck and told me that this is what Daddy did to Mommy. The horrible thing is not only what Daddy did, or that this child was a witness, but that I felt nothing. I had become completely numb to these stories. Yet at home, a few nights later, I was watching TV and saw one of those hokey Hallmark kind of ads for a phone service. It was about calling home, and I started to sob. I realized that this was not healthy behavior. I needed to understand what I was seeing. Even more, I needed to understand my role in a legal system that pretended to offer justice and fairness to women and BIPOC folks. I say pretended because we were merely putting our fingers in the dam of the crushing oppression that is the US state. In our country, we don't give real assistance. We put on Band-Aids and then blame the Band-Aid wearers for not fully healing. And my role? I applied Band-Aids. I participated in the pretense of justice. To be clear, the lawyers I worked with were fantastic, caring, competent, and all devoted to justice. But none of us individually made a damn bit of difference in the lives of our clients, or at least we rarely did so. Now, this was a sociological analysis, although I didn't realize it at the time. But off I went to graduate school in sociology. Why didn't I understand the intransigent depth of racism and sexism I was witnessing? Well, unlike the parents in the song, my own parents did not carefully teach me to hate. They were good, white, suburban liberals. They were kind and fair in their personal lives. At the time, I didn't have a term for my experience, but the term we often use today is white fragility. My parents believed that they were creating a good, caring person by shielding me from the realities of sexism and racism. Just as they wouldn't let me watch TV news about the Vietnam War, they didn't take me to any museums or shows or exhibits or films about the American history of racism and sexism. As a white child, I needed to be protected. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not angry. I'm just trying to understand why my life has really felt like an escape from a white liberal upbringing into a more accurate understanding of things like power, hegemony, colonialism, social structure, and inequity. These things were not explained to me. However, my parents could not escape teaching me some lessons. I don't really remember my family paying much attention when the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was murdered. But I do remember the riots of 1968. Why? Well, Malcolm X grew up in Lansing, Michigan, and I lived in East Lansing, Michigan. Malcolm's birth name was Malcolm Little. He had a brother named Robert Little, and my dad's name was Robert Little. During the riots, we started getting calls at the house for Robert, but it wasn't our Robert. So my dad went out and bought a handgun. I don't know what happened to it, but the message stayed with me. It takes years to escape from that kind of brainwashing. So my second lesson is that you have to be taught about the experiences of the marginalized, not protected from them. You have to be taught about social structures that support oppression. You have to be taught to see them before you can work to dismantle them. Now I'm moving to the third song, which is coming up. It's another Peter Mayer song called Sacred Song. And the words in the chorus go as follows. This is my true joy, to use my one voice and with all of life, join in that sacred song with every step, sing, and whenever I can, bring another along. So my third lesson is about finding spirituality in community. This is where you can find joy in the midst of despair. One quick story to frame my experiences of community. I was a cellist in college. I've had a very checkered past. I had friends who were groupies of the Grateful Dead, but that was not me. Remember, I'm serious. I was a groupie of the Juilliard String Quartet. I traveled miles to hear them. One time, I heard them play in Chicago. I lived in Michigan, so it wasn't too far. That's right. I don't remember what they played, although I think it was a Beethoven string quartet. But what I remember is that this was my first spiritual experience. There was no sound but that of the strings. We were all mesmerized. Between us, the air crackled with electricity. You could feel the sparks. DRE toys live with me. We were connected, body and soul, to the sounds in the room, the astonishing beauty of the music, and by extension, to each other. In the early 2000s, Reverend Kate, a former minister here, started talking about spirituality, and I was one of those who fought this in my mind and heart. I was a humanist, after all. But on days when I let the breeze of knowledge blow through the rooms and corridors, I remembered listening to the Juilliard Quartet in Chicago. I came to understand that humanism and spirituality are not actually mutually exclusive. I realized that I experienced spirituality in the communal bond of working with others. In the face of the hate expressed against women, the poor, BIPOC folks, Native Americans, immigrants, the LGBTQIA+ community, Black Americans, and others, I have repeatedly experienced spirituality and community with activists. In the face of despair, I remember that I am free to join with those who seek to heal the world. Ever since I returned from France, I have worked in community for social justice. Returning to college in Ann Arbor, I worked with one of the early rape crisis centers. During law school in Washington, D.C., I volunteered with Legal Aid as an intern. After law school, I moved to California, and that's where I worked as a lawyer for Legal Aid. Here on Long Island, I've collaborated with others trying to reform the police. I am part of a rapid response group that acts to protect immigrants. For years, this congregation has supported my work to offer safety and respite to trans kids in the Kids Hangout, and their beautiful flag hangs in our sanctuary. On Sunday afternoons, I stand with Vigil for Gaza in Port Jefferson, trying to get more Americans to call for an end to U.S. complicity in the Gaza genocide. The knowledge from France and from Legal Aid and from many other experiences underlies my calling in retirement. 3 years ago, I worked with Dick Kubek of Long Island Jobs with Justice, thank you, and others to create a series of webinars to teach folks how to form community groups to fight against hate. I brought together religious and secular activists, and we formed UCAN, United Community Action Network. As an aside, I'll tell you that I felt we were so clever, but then I learned there's a lot of UCANs around the country. Our logo hangs here on the window this morning. The first few months, we testified against hate signs and educated some folks in the Smithtown community about the transgender journey. Then the presidential administration changed, and we moved most of our energies to rapid response to support immigrants. We're a small group. We need others. but we do a lot. And we could do so much more with your participation. We've offered Know Your Rights and active bystander trainings. We hand out red cards and whistle kits to immigrants. We accompany individuals to ICE check-ins. We've adopted a corner to help protect day laborers in Farmingville. We patrol the streets of immigrant communities in Port Jeff Station. We attend rallies and vigils in support of our immigrant friends. It says ICE Out Long Island. We call and write to our electeds, and occasionally we provide individualized support to immigrant families. So here's my third lesson. Those of you who've heard me here over the years will find this totally unsurprising. Do something. And do it in community. Realize that you can't do everything and that you don't have to do anything alone. Find your people, the others who share your compassion and your outrage. There's so many tasks and groups. Join UCAN. There will be a sign-up sheet in the foyer if you want information. This doesn't commit you to anything. Learn the truth about what is happening to our immigrant neighbors, friends, and families. Resist the hate and listen to immigrant stories. Interrupt hate by becoming an active bystander. We will train you. Join a community of activists. One of the advantages of living in a world that is so messed up is that there's no shortage of opportunities for people of goodwill to engage. Bring your skill to a community or join a community and allow them to help you recognize your skill. And if your skill is making brownies, you are most welcome. We need all the chocolate we can get. So this has been a long story about forming a community-based social justice organization. It's been a long story of growing up and out of the liberal white fragility in which so many kids like me were and still are raised. It's been a lifetime of learning that my joy comes from working with others to heal the harm and pains of the world. You probably understand why I'm a UU. Thank you for listening. I love you all. Namaste and amen. And now, please rise as you are willing and able to sing hymn 1017 in the Teal hymnal. It's Building a New Way.
Our closing words are, "Choose to bless the world." This is part 1, by Rebecca Ann Parker. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart. The gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy. Comply with injustice. Oops. That was not good. Bear with me, please. Okay. I do apologize. You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled. We now extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The choice to bless the world will draw you into community. The endeavor shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggles, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting. Right on.
Life's not a note long. Life is the whole song that played long before me and will after I'm gone. Life is no match flame. Life is a great blaze, the fire animating you and me. So while I live my life, I'll carry that torchlight and hold it up way high through every dark night. I will take my turn, keeping that flame burning, seeing it delivered to the next in line. This is my true joy, to use my one voice, and with all of life's joy in that sacred song, with every step sing, whenever I can bring another along. And from that firelight, I'll take a bright spark to give to a passerby with a hopeless heart. A bright spark of courage for love and for service, to kindle a purpose that the heart can find. This is my true joy, to use my one voice, and with all of life join in that sacred song, and with every step sing, and whenever I can bring another along. In that sacred song, and say that I have lived and gave what I could give, keeping it strong. I want to live life like it's a torchlight and hold it up way high through every dark night. I want to take my turn, keeping that flame burning, see it delivered, the next in line, seeing it delivered to the next in line.